Hello everyone, this is Ian Schaefer here with UDA Technologies. I'm one of the senior product specialists, and today we are continuing along our Construction Online new navigation webinar series. Today we're going to be focusing on calendars and scheduling. I've got my colleague Jordan here. He's one of our top sales consultants here at UDA Technologies, and once again I've got Sydney Dorsey manning the questions for the webinar itself today, so she's going to be knocking out a bunch of those questions as you guys chat them in. And we're going to be getting started here in 2 or 3 minutes, but just to make sure that everybody is able to see what we're working with and hear everything that we're talking about today, I'd appreciate it if you guys would take just a moment to look at the GoToWebinar panel. There should be an area on there marked questions. And before we start today, I'd appreciate it if you guys go ahead and share with us what kind of construction you guys do, what your role is with your company, and most importantly, what you guys hope to see with us talking about the new navigation and some of the Construction Online scheduling is today, scheduling and calendars. So again, just tell us what you guys hope to see in the meeting today, and we will probably be getting started in about 3 minutes. So thanks for your patience, guys. We'll be right back with you shortly. All right, guys, I think we are ready to get started. Once again, my name is Ian Schaefer. I'm one of the senior product specialists here at UDA Technologies, and I'm joined by my colleague, Jordan. He's one of our top sales consultants, and today we're going to be talking to you guys about some of the new features that we have available through Construction Online and how this new navigation that we're going to be releasing in the near future is going to affect how you guys do business with this application. Of course, brief little bit of background before we dive into the webinar itself. Again, looks like we have a great crowd today, hundreds of attendees in this case too. So Sydney, who's going to be helping out, she's our head of the loyalty department here at UDA Technologies. She's actually going to be helping out on the question side. So as you guys have questions coming in, by all means, chat them to us, and she's going to try to make sure that she knocks out those answers as quickly as she sees. Sometimes we'll be flagging these questions as well so that I can go over them either in the webinar or shortly after. We may have a Q&A session afterwards as well. So by all means, let us know as these things are coming in. If you guys have questions, you see anything interesting, chime in. We'd love to have the input. Now, again, before we get started with everything, just to give you guys an idea of where we're starting with all of this, I've got the classic view for Construction Online open right now, and a little bit of background on UDA and Construction Online in particular. Most of our software was originally released back in the late 90s. I think we first started selling a software package called Construction Office back in 99. It was insanely popular at the time. It sold like hotcakes all the way through 2004 when we decided it was time to kind of enhance it or expand upon it a little bit. At that time, we started working on our first desktop suite of software. It's ConstructionSuite, and that was a fully integrated desktop project management solution. Had estimating, had scheduling, still around today and still wildly popular. But it's estimating, scheduling, leads, opportunities, Quickbooks Integration. We started our integration actually back 15-ish years ago. We're gold certified QuickBooks developer and have been for over a decade and a half now. And we've got a lot of QuickBooks Pro advisors on staff, but all of that kind of built up and built up and built up. And most of it was a desktop platform until 2009 when we released the first Construction Online website. Now, this first website was, by 2009 terms, pretty modern, pretty exciting. Now, it looks almost archaic sometimes when we go back and see the screenshots for it. So, of course, over the years, we went from the Construction Online cloud hosting file collaboration system that we had available at the time to slowly adding in parts and pieces, expanding on the online reach so that you guys all have a cloud-hosted solution to manage all of your jobs and your project content and everything like that. And that's what we're going to be looking at today with Construction Online's classic view, which is the still very up-to-date version from the old 2009 product. But we'll also be looking at some of the changes that we're going to be releasing with the new Construction Online interface, which is a lot more project-centric than it was before. So with the classic view for Construction Online, again, first came out, the first parts of it were released back in 2009. It was enhanced as we went. I think scheduling was the first major pro feature in Construction Online, and from there we started building in things like we had some budgets. Budgets became estimating. We have contacts, which we started to add in leads. We've got change orders online and client selections, project loggings, calendars. All these different features kind of coming together to create this one end-to-end project management solution for all of you guys here today. Now, we've also had a chance to talk to a lot of you. Looks like we have plenty of different contacts, or plenty of different attendees who are both current clients or new clients maybe. We've also got a lot of people here who haven't used the system before, so hopefully this will be a sneak peek in some of the exciting new things that we're releasing as we move forward. We always want to try to be on that cutting edge, that innovative set. Now, along those lines, Jordan, I think you had the opportunity to kind of sit in for at least a little bit. You've certainly had the opportunity to hear some of the reception from the webinar that we did last Thursday covering all of the new Construction Online. Tell me, if you would, what kind of reception have we had so far based on these new features that we've been looking at?
Yeah, that's absolutely right. The reception has been overwhelmingly positive. I can personally vouch for my inbox exploding, people reaching out and commenting on what they think about the new navigation. They're so excited. They're really looking forward to the upcoming update that we're really, really excited to be rolling out here pretty soon. It really is a massive jump to the future, and honestly, I'll tell you, all of the phone conversations I've had have been phenomenal. Everyone is so excited.
Yeah, and for me, it's been a lot of the same too. It's definitely a high level of excitement here in the office. Everybody that we have here on staff who's had the opportunity to kind of get in and see some of these new features and everything like that, has been blown away. And all the people that I've talked to, both on the phone or in person, or however we've been working, showing off some of these new features, it's been the same. When you're taking a look at the two different products side by side, the classic view for Construction Online, I say two different products, it's the same great Construction Online, it's just different ways of thinking of all the parts and the pieces. So right now, for example, I've got the classic view for Construction Online up, and from the classic view's calendar, we can see, again, a lot of information is going to be provided here. Over on the left-hand sidebar, we see all the features and everything for Construction Online, same along the top. In the center of the screen, we've got view options for what we show on the calendar itself, and beneath this, we're actually looking at the activities and the content for all the jobs that we're working on. Over on the right-hand side, you'll actually see all the different custom calendars that are available to turn on and off and work with all of this additional content. And with Construction Online, you've got the ability to go into your calendars and get a day view, a week view, a month view, even the year view if you guys needed to see just how densely packed your calendar is over the course of the next year. Of course, with calendars, because there's so much going on for Construction Online, we've got logging delays, we've got selection deadlines, change order deadlines, to-do list items, schedules, of course, populating for all these jobs, calendar events. You've got the ability to turn on or off various different activity types in here, or calendar activity content. You'll also have the ability to filter this calendar down a little bit as well. So as you're looking at this, obviously, if you needed to see one specific resource on your calendar, just click in the drop down here for the filter by and select that resource and you're good. Again, most of this, though, for the calendars themselves are all going to be centered in this one major feature on Construction Online. From this one major feature on Construction Online, you'll see all the different activity kind of piling in and showing up all in this one major screen. Now, when we go take a look at the new Construction Online, you'll still see a company calendar. On new Construction Online, which we've just switched over to now, we've got the company calendar option on the left. And when you're looking through the company calendar, you can still turn on and off various different calendars that you want to work with. And it shows you all the activities and the content and everything like that right here in the middle of the screen. You'll notice that we have a little bit more space available for the calendar itself, and you can even go through and do things like hide the company calendar features. Once you have the right set of calendars turned on, you can hide all the rest of them, get them out of the way, so that we're left focused on what really matters for the company as a whole. Now, in addition to some of the additional content that we've got from Construction Online, you'll notice as we're looking through this that we do have some schedules for jobs. We've got milestones showing up, still have change order approvals or deadlines or whatever might be included in this, but you'll notice that a lot of the calendars now include a little option to expand columns. No, it's rows? Rows. The week. You can expand the week by clicking on the one more button here, and it'll show everything going on for this week. And we've done this to try to keep everything within the calendar page a little bit more streamlined. It fits better on the page. You'll also notice that we still have a lot of those key valuable things for managing calendars, like filter by resource, day view, week view, month view, year view. There's also an agenda view now, which is a little bit closer to how you might see like a Google Calendar agenda or something like that. So you'll be able to go through and take a look at that. And if you need to adjust the different activity types and everything like that, you'll also have the settings wheel here that you can open up to and expand the various different types. Calendar settings would be turning on or off to-dos and change order deadlines and selection due dates. Default calendar list just opens it up and allows you to choose which ones are going to appear all the time on your jobs. Global calendar settings, again, that's going to be like what time zone are we working in, and set work hours. This is really applicable on the day view where you're going to set your working day to, well, if you're anything like us, it's going to be like 7 a.m. or 6 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night. Hopefully you guys can kind of focus those in a little bit more. Maybe you're not all workaholics like myself and Jordan, but you can kind of streamline that down a little bit to a reasonable workday. And then you can schedule appointments out through that normal workday from there as well. Now you'll also have, if you navigate back and forth, you'll notice that with the global calendar settings on the classic view for ConstructionOnline, there's going to be some options to connect to things like Google Calendar or what's the other, Office 365. We can connect into their calendar as well. This just helps make everything available to you guys natively on the app, and with the new navigation for ConstructionOnline, this is going to be part of the global settings as well. So you guys are you're not losing anything by changing over to this new ConstructionOnline system. In fact, you're gaining a lot of flexibility here by focusing in on what you guys want. All the great adjustments and features and everything like that are available everywhere. And this is all part of the company calendar, the big guy. Now, how often when you're talking to customers, in this case, Jordan, do you have somebody who asks that very first question, how do I filter it down to just one job? One calendar from this big, massive pile of company calendar activity and everything like that? How can I see just the one by default?
Yeah, that happens fairly often. In fact, I was just having a conversation with someone evaluating ConstructionOnline after, a couple of years. They kind of left and were handling things on their own, and they came back because they, funnily enough, saw our new updates and that we were pushing out to really pull people into these webinars last week and this week. It was very exciting to let them know that our focus now has really been to give the information that you would like to see per project. It was a really great conversation to have, and it was exciting to point them to this webinar specifically. So
yeah.
It is something that people would like. You could do that before, just to kind of point out. You could filter down to one project before, but you would have to go through and turn off all of your calendars. We've made this view a lot easier. So if you want a big overview, you can go straight to the company calendar. If you want to bring it back down, of course, you can focus down to a project-centric view, which is something that is really exciting in the new navigation for sure.
Absolutely. And as we talked about on Thursday, hopefully most of you guys were able to join us for that, but with the new navigation for ConstructionOnline, if you look over on the left-hand side, we have the selection, the collection of projects available right here. We've also started adding in project types as a way to kind of collect all of your jobs together. More importantly, though, we have this favorite option up at the top. You can now favorite your jobs. Maybe this is your way of pulling up those primary projects to the top of the list and kind of highlighting those. And when you click on one of your favorites, or one of the projects in general, takes you into the overview specifically for that project. From here, if we switch over to the calendar and schedules view, you'll actually see this specific calendar within the job. Now again, this is pre-filtered down to what's important on this job. So now that we're looking at this one, we can see all of the scheduled activities for this project. We've still got the change order deadlines and approvals. All of this information is going to be available here, except it's pre-filtered down. You don't have to go through that big list and check off, uncheck all the ones that you don't want and just leave checked the last project that we're going to be working on to go get that one calendar. Now all you do is click on the job, go to the calendar, there it is. And all this information is still going to be filterable as well. So just like before, if you wanted to filter your list down to show what the electrician is going to be working on instead of what everybody's working on, easy. Click in the filter by drop down, choose the electrician from the list, and then it filters away, clicking on extra buttons there. It filters away all the extra content and gives you the ability to kind of hone in on what you're working with. Now, of course, as you guys just saw me clicking through on that calendar event option, you can add new calendar events here. This just creates the new meetings, appointments. You can add your subject line, make sure that it's assigned to the right project calendar, which happens by default if you're already in that job. Obviously, that's the easy part. But then from here, you can go through and create either all-day activities or slot these tasks in on the day view within that time frame that you guys set up for your workday. Again, keep in mind that whatever your workday is configured to, it's usually going to try to squeeze within that time frame. So if you're a 9 to 5er, then this is going to give you most of your appointments within that 9 to 5 range. If you guys need to schedule a little bit of outside of that, you still can. It's just going to kind of focus in on that 9 to 5 to keep you guys working on that. Or again, 7 to 10, or whatever your schedule might look like, or your days might look like. You'll also have the ability to go through and create repeating activities as well. Super clutch for those jobs where you have to have the regular recurring meeting with subcontractors. Maybe it's every Tuesday morning you guys get together and you talk about what's going on, what kind of concerns they have, or whatever it might be. Set those repeating events. It's going to be specific for the job. You'll be able to choose what kind of time frame you want to have, except it's probably not going to be a daily repetition. It'll be weekly instead. But you can go through and choose your frequency and everything like that for those repeating tasks. So again, all of this is going to be on the calendar, either specific to the project calendar, or it's going to be available through the company calendar. You'll be able to do both. If you're on the company calendar, you can create new activities specific for a job, or if you're on the job calendar, it automatically creates them for the job. You can switch it to company tasks, though, if you need to. Now, that said, most of this is going to be calendar activities. These are all loose, kind of free-floating activities or tasks, or maybe they're being pulled in from other features in ConstructionOnline. Features that are pretty easy to get to. Again, if we're looking at calendars and schedules, you can click on Project Schedule and see all the scheduled tasks or activities or milestones or groups or whatever it might be. If we switch over to project tracking, maybe we start to look at punch lists or to-do list items or whatever else might be included. All of this is going to be showing up back again on the calendar itself, as long as the calendar has all of these different event types selected. Make sure that they're there. If you don't see them on the calendar, it's probably because you haven't checked the box for them here. You'll also be able to, again, as I mentioned before, connect it into your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar so that it automatically pushes most of these events to those calendars. Google especially makes it extremely easy for it to show up natively on your phone if you're using an Android, or even if you've got iCloud connected to your Google account, then it can show up natively on your iPhone as well. So again, great possibilities here, tons and tons of options, and most of this information just becomes available, like Jordan said, on a project by project view, or if you guys wanted to look at the company as a whole, see what the lifeblood of the company looks like for the next few months, switch back to the company calendar and you'll have it all right there. Now, along those lines, we also have a couple of additional options here for schedules. Now again, with ConstructionOnline, when we go take a look at the scheduling feature on ConstructionOnline, we have available here the world's fastest scheduling, the world's fastest online scheduling. I think we're neck and neck with our desktop scheduling versus our online scheduling, but it's certainly the world's fastest online scheduling. And when you guys go through and take a look at some of the features and some of the content available, you'll find that it is a full Gantt chart scheduling software online. When you go look at any of the schedules themselves, looks like this one is a little bit of a simple schedule, but when you're looking through the schedules themselves, you'll have the ability to create schedule activities or tasks. Just come down the calendar itself and create your new events, new groups, new whatever it might be. So we go with site work here. Maybe this one's going to be a group. Convert to group. And within site work, maybe we have site clearing, and we can have backfill. Whatever else might be included in your jobs. Now, again, as you're going through and you're building all of this information out, you'll notice that up at the top, we have dashboards up here that track how we're doing on each of these jobs. Dashboards like our percent completion dashboard, which is tracking how many days we've got on the job itself versus how many we've finished so far, which is none. It looks like I'm a little behind on my percentages here, updating these, like some of these tasks which are done, we should probably go ahead and mark as complete. Yeah, and again, as you're working through it, you'll just be able to go through and mark everything as you go. You can also adjust over on the task information side on the left, where we're creating new groups and tasks and everything like that. Let's hide the dashboard to pull this up front and center. And from the Gantt chart, you'll also be able to drag and drop your tasks around, create predecessor relationships as you work, and so on and so forth. So as you're operating through the calendar or the schedule itself, full Gantt chart capabilities, predecessors, you can create critical paths, you can do all of this work, and it's available even back on the calendar screen when you guys are taking a look at the project calendar on Classic ConstructionOnline. Now with the new version of Construction Online, we've enhanced some of the, again, calculations, the navigations, working through and creating some of the additional content for the calendars themselves. And as we look through on the calendar page, you'll actually notice that we still have that same kind of Gantt chart view over here on the right, where you can map out everything that we're working on, and you can create all of the predecessor relationships, and you can create these dependencies. You'll also notice that it started filling in these tasks. Now we've got work being completed because I've finally gone in and started marking those things as complete. But as you work your way through it, you'll also be able to still do the same thing. You can add in new tasks down here at the bottom. You'll be able to go through and create milestones or update any of the information. In fact, you can even go through and drag and drop on the calendar itself still, or the schedule itself still, and get the same quick responsiveness out of everything that you guys are working on. You'll notice the dashboards up at the top have shifted a little bit now to kind of focus in more on the primary events that we're going to be working on. Right now it's showing progress through the schedule itself for a projected end date of, looks like March 16. And again, as you're looking through this, you'll be able to see work days that have elapsed on the job versus the tasks that we've completed. They don't line up as well as I would like. But again, as we go through and do our updates and everything like that, it'll give us a little bit of a better view for what we've created on the new Construction Online. Now that said, how do you see this working for some of our new clients, or existing clients for that matter? Do you think that this is going to be an easy... I'm talking to Jordan, by the way. You guys can't see me facing him, but Jordan, tell me, or tell us rather, how do you see adoption of some of the new scheduling features going for Construction Online users, either current users or new users? Is this going to be a major shift, do you think, from what they're working on, or do you think that this is going to be a really easy one for them to pick up?
Interestingly enough, if people have experience working with Gantt charts and scheduling at all, this is going to feel right at home with any other system you've used. If you're currently using Construction Online scheduling, again, you're going to feel right at home. You can see with a fresh paint job, the mechanics are all still there. In fact, Ian, as you were kind of showing us, like moving the actual taskbars is incredibly smooth. We already like to say that that's fast, but I mean, at this point now, there is no delay at this point, which is fantastic. People that are shifting over from less formal schedules, they'll find that moving to a system like this is pretty simple. You know, you just go in, put in your tasks, and then fill out your expected dates to complete. Any level of experience with any type of scheduling platform, whether you were just tossing something together in Excel and kind of managing as best as you could, all the way to pro power users and classic Construction Online, they're all going to find a place here. And I think that everyone is going to really be able to get in, get their work scheduled out, and get out there and get after it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the other features that we've got available with new Construction Online, and for those of you who've been using it for a while, you'll find them in the classic Construction Online as well. We have a lot of templates, and with the templates for these schedules, it also makes adoption of some of the new scheduling features very quick and easy. Now, to give you an idea, I've actually got a filled out schedule available in one of our Baldwin Park projects, Lot 185 Baldwin Park. And if we go and take a look at the Gantt chart for this one, as we switch over to the new job, let's, again, hide the toolbars. Let's shift that little guy out of the way. As we scroll down and take a look at some of these additional features, or the content of the schedule itself, you'll find that all of the additional information is going to be built out to a greater degree on this one. We've got more groups to work with, so we can collapse and expand our groups out here. As we look to the right, as we're navigating through, you'll see where most of these tasks are located. It's also insanely keyboard friendly, by the way. As you'll watch me navigating through, I'm just hitting the down key on the arrow to find where we're going to be, or on the keyboard rather, the down arrow to find where we are in most of these locations. And you'll notice that it's just jumping straight to these tasks as we click on them. So if we needed to go through and find one of these in a hurry, as we go through, it'll bring us to the activity set that we're working on, where we could then go in and start marking things like percentage completion, or again, maybe adjusting some of the predecessor relationships, or changing some of the calendar days so that we can kind of expand out this job, or whatever it is. Now, of course, just like before, if we wanted to, we could take this schedule and turn it into a template. We've got all the options available through the toolbars themselves. You can create your templates. You can copy this completed schedule into another job. Maybe this one's 1,000 times better than the one that we had in the Canberra residence, so we just copy it into that Canberra residence instead of trying to use the old one. Create new schedules from here or whatever else you need to do. You've got the full toolbar options. But some of the additional enhancements that you'll see, other than just templating out your work, creating this more streamlined view, if you look up at the top, you'll also notice that in addition to the standard dashboards, we've got the baselines set up in here as well. It's a big job. With the baselines, these are going to help you track your progress through the job. Now again, for those of you who have worked with the classic view of ConstructionOnline, which is hopefully a lot of you, you may be familiar again with some of the baselines. Let's go find that lot 185. Let's probably leave this one. Oh, this is another one. It's so much easier to find the right schedule on the new ConstructionOnline because it's tied into the project. You click on the project, there's your schedule. No more schedule names or anything like that. You can still have them, but it's much easier to find. Now, again, as you're going through and you're taking a look at this, of course, we've got all the calendar activities, the scheduled tasks, we've got milestones, we've got groups and predecessors and everything like that. If we expand the dashboard, you'll see the baselines here. The classic ConstructionOnline had an easy way to create new baselines. You could label your baselines and it gives you a little bit of information here. You can choose which section we're going to be comparing for this. What I love about the new ConstructionOnline, though, is it gives you a much more direct comparison. It's instead of having too many crazy overlays or anything like that, it shows you where we were, where we are, and what that difference looks like. In this case, we're in the red. It's unfortunate. It happens on almost every schedule that I've ever seen, but at least in this case, for a multi-year schedule, only 9 days behind is pretty darn good. I'd say we're doing a fair job so far. So as we're working through and we're seeing most of this information kind of coming together with these baselines, you'll be able to create those new baselines. You'll be able to tie into the existing baselines that we're working with. And then from here, there's your create baseline option. From here, you can just pick out which section of the schedule you kind of want to focus in on. And let's see where we were for installation as opposed to where we are now. Looks like that's a big part of the delay. But it just kind of helps focus better on what we're looking at or what we're looking for. Again, with the majority of our focus here for schedules on doing better next time than we did last time. And that's a big piece for me especially. I always want to improve the process, which means that we have to know where we slipped up a little bit. And in this case, with those baselines in place, it couldn't be easier. It automatically highlights all of this. It remembers everything that we thought we were going to hit, as opposed to where we're finishing some of these tasks now, which means the next time we work with this schedule, we can make the proper adjustments to give a more realistic expectation to our customers as we're working our way forward. Now again, as we take a look through all of these additional options, of course, with the schedules, as you guys make adjustments to these schedules, they're automatically updating the calendar in real time. You can expand out the sections here for navigating through and select project calendars to go back to that. You'll also, well, probably more importantly in this case, be able to report off of all of this information. When you come through and take a look at some of the reports that are available, you'll be able to generate some of these completion reports or schedule conflict reports, and they span multiple jobs. So as you're working through with the conflict reports, for example, it'll tell you if you have a resource on this job that was already scheduled on something else. You won't have to skip back and forth to the company calendar or your schedules or whatever it might be. It just tells you right here in this one report. The completion report shows you just how much you haven't marked as complete, if you guys are anything like me. And as you're working through, you can use the baseline report to do that end of job comparison. Where were we? Where are we? Or you can do things like the schedule notes report for all of those companies out there who might want to provide a little bit more detail, maybe a little bit of a scope adjustment from some of these schedules. All of those notes are going to be available from the schedule itself. All of that information is going to be reportable, and that's a really clean way to print out something kind of like a scope of work, but maybe filtered down to the specific individuals. Again, new reports with new ConstructionOnline. You'll see a lot of these and a great many others in some of these other features in like financials, which we'll be talking about on Wednesday. We're going to dive into what are we looking at? You know the webinar schedule, right, Jordan?
Yeah, definitely. I believe that.
So what are we looking at moving forward for the rest of the week?
So on Wednesday, we're going to be diving into financials like you were saying. So we're going to take a look at everyone's favorite estimating change order options here in ConstructionOnline. and maybe some client selections if we can squeeze it in, because that's going to be a really exciting topic.
Oh, I think we can make the client selections happen. That's a big one. And then on Friday, we're going to be doing kind of a wrap-up with some of the, looks like, progress on the jobs. Project tracking, communication, correspondence tracking. So we'll be looking at some of the commercial features and how they show up in the new navigation for Construction Online, in addition to the tools that I hope all of you guys are already using things like project logs to go through and note everything that we're doing on the jobs themselves, punch lists to track what's been completed and what's not on each of these jobs. With most of these, you'll actually be able to take pictures and assign them. All of this is going to be accessible through the mobile app as well. So for those of you who have lead carpenters or site supervisors or project managers or an interest in looking at what you guys are going to be doing from the job site, definitely bring everybody to the Friday meeting for sure. That's going to cover a lot of what they're going to be responsible for. That's very, very specific to the field. Now, almost all the rest of the content that we're looking at today, though, is going to be accessible there as well. We have adapted the calendars for Construction Online to be accessible through the Construction Online mobile app. You'll also be able to share all of this information through TeamLink or ClientLink. You'll still have those portals available as well. And all of that information is going to show up very similarly for your customers, given, of course, the settings and everything like that that you guys want to work with. So again, your calendars can be shared. They'll be able to see the project-specific calendar. Granted, you'll still be able to control some of the information they see here. For example, on this calendar that we might be looking at now, the calendar itself might have a simplified view for Lot 185 because we don't need to show the customer everything that we're working on. If we go back to the Canberra residence, there's a little bit more. They might have the additional milestones, they might have the additional appointments and meetings and change orders, whatever might be included, that might show up here. And as you expand this out again, this is what your customers can see. You can give them access to the Gantt chart schedule as well through the portals if you choose to. Subcontractors through TeamLink or your vendors through TeamLink, a lot of the same. You guys have the ability to go through and control how much of this they can see and how much of it you want to shift over to the additional coworkers or your employees or staff members or consultants. We've got a few consultants out here too. You guys might actually be going through and creating a lot of this content and kind of simplifying what your colleagues see with the parent company. So as you guys are working through all of this, you can set all of this up. You can make it look really, really great, super easy to interact with in this case too. And all of this becomes available, again, with the new navigation for Construction Online. And it's, again, a subtle shift to how you think. So again, as you guys are looking through this, still some of my favorite features that we're going to be looking at here. We now have right-click events, right-click menus. You've got the ability over here on the left-hand side to kind of group your jobs and move things around as you guys are setting up everything. You guys have the ability to mark some of these things as favorited projects. Up there to the top of the list it goes. And again, all of this feeds in with the next set where you pick your project, gives you the project details up at the top, and when you choose which area you're going to be working in, it goes from the big list of projects to the slightly more simplified list of specific features for calendars and schedules on this project into the individual feature that we've chosen. So again, this is all within the umbrella of the Canberra residence right now. All of these features, all of this content is specific to this one job. And if you guys didn't catch it before, when you navigate between projects, it keeps the same screen. It just takes you into that specific section for the next job. If you need to go back, you can either click back on the project you were on, or the back menu works here as well. So you can go forward and back and shift back and forth, and you can do all your comparisons. It's all, again, insanely easy as you guys are working through it. It's all going to be available through the new Construction Online interface. And as you guys are working with it, again, super excited to get this stuff into your hands and work with it from there.
Speaking of shifting back and forth, one thing I want to note is that all of the work that you do currently in Construction Online Classic is the exact same work that will show up in new Construction Online. So don't be afraid to continue doing the things that you're doing to run your companies. Don't be afraid to jump into Construction Online now while we get this thing ready and out the door to you guys. Don't stop. It's all there for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very valuable point. We've set this up in such a way that when most of you will get access to the new Construction Online, you'll actually have a similar toggle up here at the top, a similar switch, so that you can go back and forth between the classic view and the new Construction Online. We're going to be introducing Construction Online, the new navigation for Construction Online in this way, so that those of you who have teams full of guys who say, I don't like to change, I already know how to use all these things, I already have all my buttons they're going to be fine. All of these guys, when they know where to go in the classic view for Construction Online, they'll just flip the toggle over to the classic view and they'll continue working and being productive from there. For those of you who actually want an easier time in life, you can switch over to the new view for Construction Online and you guys will be able to use all these great new features and the new navigation options. And again, so easy to work with. It's for me, it's been a breeze picking up some of the new tools. And all of this new navigation is going to be available again within the next, we expect it to be available within the next few weeks, I believe. And I'll ask the question again. I had a lot of response on Thursday when I asked the question, but guys, we're looking at the moment for some early adopters for Construction Online. We're looking to open the new navigation up for some of our current Construction Online subscribers, and we're basically opening up a beta program to give everybody access to these things. If you guys are interested in being one of the first Construction Online new navigation adopters, go ahead and chime in now for me if you guys would. We're gonna wreck Sydney's ability to answer questions again, but guys, go ahead and just post us a message through the questions panel if you guys want to take a look at this new stuff, and we can turn on this option for you guys sooner rather than later. We don't have a specific time for this, but my expectation is that the beta program will begin to open up over the next week, and we will be contacting everybody when the time comes to go through and take a look at some of these new features and everything like that as well. So again, if you guys are interested, we've already got a full screen of people who are, but please make a note in there, go through and take a look at it. And if you guys have any questions about some of these new things, don't forget to join us Wednesday, 3 o'clock Central. We'll be going through estimating and some of the financials for Construction Online. For the new navigation, we'll compare it against the old navigation. I did it again. The classic navigation. Sorry, because it's not old. It's still way more modern than most of our competitors are. We've still got some of the guys using old programs like Timberline or Master Builder, and those are like 20 or 30-year-old interfaces. So we're certainly playing an interesting game right now with these new features. And with the new navigation, we hope to get it out to you guys so that you guys can get in there and start working with some of these applications as well. So again, at this point, we're probably going to go ahead and wrap up the webinar today. I think we've covered most of the content that we needed to share with you guys today. This is webinar number 2 in the series of 4, talking about the new Construction Online navigation. And again, if you have any questions, once again, my name is Ian Schaefer. I'm a Senior Product Specialist here at UDA Technologies. My colleague Jordan Davis, he's one of our top sales consultants. At this point, edging up on one of the senior sales consultants as well. It's just a question of age at that point, I suppose. And then Sydney, our head of loyalty, of course, on the questions over there. I feel like it's Sydney on the keyboards. And as we're working through, guys, do feel free to reach out to us at any time. Give us a call, shoot us an email, or keep an eye out for some of the next emails that we're going to be working with. Hope to see you guys on Wednesday. But until then, thanks again so much for joining us. This has been the Construction Online new navigation sneak peek at calendars and schedules. Guys, we hope to see you again real soon. And until then, have a wonderful afternoon. Take care.